Hey everyone! I'm Albert Boris. So, a little over a week ago, we finally got our first look at the next mainline Mario Kart game, after almost 10 years. And it's, well, I mean, okay, we didn't really get that much of a look, it was just like 10 seconds of footage, so there's not that much to talk about. But what I can talk about is the character selection, at least a bit of it. As all of us know, whenever new Mario Kart content is inbound, there's almost nothing quite as successful on YouTube as making prediction videos, especially if you're already known for them. So I thought, what prediction videos could I do for this game now? Retro tracks? I already did them a year ago, and seeing as no retro track has been announced yet, I'd say that video still holds up. Nitro tracks? Well, besides the Mushroom Cup starter being something entirely else, which by proxy also deconfirms my desert track prediction there, nothing in that video is obsolete either yet. But what about characters? Yeah, there's quite a lot of new info we got, which made me think it might be a good idea to revamp my predictions there. So let's do this again. Although before we get properly started, make sure to hit the subscribe button if you're new to this channel and enjoy my videos. It would really help me out and incentive me to make more videos more often. Anyways, with all that being said, I say let's begin now. So let's start off by listing what we already know. What we do know is that this is the first Mario Kart game which will have 24 racers on the track at all times. And whether that's a good thing or not is a story for another video, but one thing it does mean is that the character selection is gonna have to be way bigger than what we're used to make up for this new massive increase. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had 48 characters, including DLC, but for Mario Kart on Switch 2, I think we're gonna have to extend that selection with another row to at least 54 characters. And this is to ensure that we not only get most of the important characters from that game, but also a couple of brand new additions. Because if there's one thing for sure, if this game wants to be more spectacular than 8 Deluxe, which is already the biggest game in the series, having a massive character selection is a good first impression. Which is why I think that this game's roster is gonna take an everyone is here approach, similar to Smash Ultimate, to a lesser extent at least. We're not gonna get every character ever, but most of them at least. On another note, I also think that the era of clone characters is gonna be over to some extent, and it's not just because I hate them. But realistically, clone characters just take up a bunch of extra space that other more interesting characters could use. And considering how long we've had to wait for this game to as much as be announced, it would be a bit of a slap in the face if the developers didn't use all this time to give us more reasonable choices. In the past, when these games came out on a much shorter basis, it was a bit more acceptable. I still think we'll have clone characters in this game, but that they'll instead be alternate skins to the pre-existing characters, because that's what they really are deep down. Also, I was thinking of maybe basing these predictions off of weight classes, so that we have an equal amount of light, medium and heavy characters, but then I realized that Mario Kart has never really been too consistent with this, so yeah, never mind. But yeah, now that we have the rules out of the way, I say, let's just get started with the predictions. Alright, so the first 24 characters that we already have confirmed are as following: Mario, Luigi, Peach, Daisy, Rosalina, Pauline, Toad, Toadette, Koopa, Shy Guy, Lakitu, Yoshi, Birdo, The Babies, Wario, Waluigi, Donkey Kong, King Boo, Bowser Jr., and finally Bowser. This is a pretty safe assumption for what I believe will be the starting characters that are available by default. Because not only is it the most basic and predictable characters for the most part, I'm sorry, Birdo, but it's also exactly 24 characters. You know, the amount we'll be having per race. And the remaining 30 characters, I believe, will be unlockable slots that you earn by playing the game. I hope. Because I swear to f***ing God if this game has no unlockables again. Anyways, after that, let's add in 23 characters that have already been playable in previous games, including Mario Kart Tour, which by the way is a really underrated game. Those being the following: Drybones, Hammerbro, Monty Mole, Paratroopa, Nabbit, Mies, Diddy Kong, Dixie Kong, Funky Kong, Poochie, Wiggler, Chargin' Chuck, Kamek, Petey Piranha, King Bob-omb, Dry Bowser, and lastly the Koopalings. Believe it or not, but excluding clone characters and crossover characters, these are actually all the original characters that have ever been playable in Mario Kart. I honestly thought there would be more. The only characters I didn't include in this category were Captain Toad and Honey Queen. And the reason I'm not predicting these two characters is because A, Captain Toad literally just looks like Toad in a new outfit, and B, Honey Queen is so obscure that virtually no one cares for her. Why? Plus, she makes Mario Kart 7 not obsolete, which I love. Oh yeah, and I'm not predicting Donkey Kong Jr. either, but I think that part was obvious. Otherwise though, I think it's definitely highly probable that we're gonna see almost every returning character to really sell this game as the biggest Mario Kart ever. Personally, I was very reluctant about bringing back the Koopalings again, because while they're still unique characters, technically, the fact that they all take up 7 individual slots is pretty annoying. But then I realized that if I didn't include them, I actually couldn't come up with enough characters to fill out 54 slots, so you're back, Koopalings. The Brutals are better though. And honestly, Miis are a pretty safe bet to return as well, because even though Nintendo is slowly moving away from them, the Switch 2 is still backwards compatible with Switch 1 games, meaning they can't move away from them just yet, so yeah. With that though, all we have to come up with now is 7 newcomers who have never as much as sat in a kart yet. And these ones are gonna require some more elaboration for why you choose them. So if you clicked on this video expecting some deep analysis behind these choices, well, you're gonna get that now. So, for the first new character, I'm regrettably gonna have to go with Baby Pauline. Why, you may ask? Well, it's simple. Mario Kart Wii added Baby Daisy, even though she never existed up until that point. And Mario Kart 8 added Baby Rosalina, where there existed the same problem. And well, would you look at that, ever since Super Mario Odyssey, Pauline has made a massive resurgence in popularity, and is now in virtually every spin-off game. Which means we're gonna get a baby of her, most likely. Believe me, I don't want this outcome. If Nintendo was based, we'd be getting Baby Wario instead, who you know is already an established character, but I guess it just wouldn't be cute enough to most people. So what else can I predict? Another character I'm not too big on, but could see happening, is Cranky Kong. Because with this guy, not only would we have every playable character from Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, but he's also become a more relevant character over time for the Mario franchise, seeing as he even had a pretty lengthy role in the Mario movie. And I'm not even exaggerating, he arguably had more screen time than Luigi in it, and I'm still not sure if that's a crime or not. But yeah, he's pretty likely. But next, how about something a little more niche though? One of the easily most notable aspects of this new Mario Kart is the much more cartoony and bouncy aesthetic compared to previous games. I, like most people, probably assumed that this game would continue using the semi-realistic art style from 8 Deluxe, but instead we got something a little more reminiscent of Super Mario Bros. Wonder, which, while it startled me at first, it's an interesting change. So I thought, why not add a Super Mario Bros. Wonder character to the mix? Now yes, it is true that Nintendo is notorious when it comes to keeping game-exclusive characters alive for the future. I mean, when was the last time any of us saw Lubba or Cappy again? But I don't think it would be too much to ask to have at least a Poplin be playable. You know, the main residents of the Flower Kingdom. They're basically Mario Wonder's equivalent of the Toads, except flower-based, and they're also a little more expressive in the way their buds bloom whenever they're happy, so please bring them back. When it comes to bad guys though, 2 characters I'm surprised have never been playable before are Boom Boom and Pom Pom, because these are arguably some of Bowser's most recurring henchmen in the series. You think the Koopalings are overused? Boom Boom is pretty much synonymous with the term mid-boss. I've lost track of how many times I've fought him in the games, so I think it's only about time that we finally get to race as him. Pom Pom isn't as relevant as him, but I still think it's only fair to feature his partner alongside him, especially because she'd also be a great way to increase the amount of female characters in the game. Spike is also a character, or rather species, that I'm shocked is still absent from Mario Kart. I mean, they're not exactly the first thing that comes to mind when you mention Mario enemies, but they're still fairly common in the Mario franchise, going as far as even getting a playable appearance in 2 of the newest Mario Party games. So I'm holding out my hope for them getting to Mario Kart as well. And lastly, for our final brand new driver, I've decided to settle on another species character, and that is Ninja. Why? Well, don't ask me. Ask Nintendo why they decided to add him not only for Mario Golf Super Rush's roster, but even Super Mario Party Jamborees. In fact, even ask them why they gave him his own dedicated level in Super Mario Bros. Wonder, or why there's also an entire game mode named after him in Mario Maker 2. I don't know why, but for some reason, Nintendo has been pouring a lot of attention on this little fella in recent years, after initially being probably one of the most obscure Mario enemies. And I'm not complaining. Not only do I love ninjas, not only do I think he's adorable, but more importantly, I just love seeing Nintendo bring back previously forgotten characters, which is partly because they have such a bad reputation of doing so. But I was also similarly happy when Super Mario 3D World brought back Goombas, Bullies, and Charging Chucks from the grave, and likewise, ninjas are no exception for me, which is why he's my final character prediction for this video. But with all of that said and done, that finally concludes my predictions for what I believe will be the character selection of Mario Kart on Switch 2. or whatever the name is gonna be. But yeah, maybe this roster could be better, but in all honesty, I think this is probably the most generous I've ever been when it comes to predicting anything on this channel. Maybe we'll get more, maybe we'll get less than this, but regardless, I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. What are your predictions for the characters in this game? Did you agree with me or not? Let me know down below in the comments what your dream roster looks like. And once again, make sure to like and share this video and subscribe to my channel if you had fun watching it, as I make even more videos on the new Mario Kart. Follow me on Discord, Twitter, as well as Patreon for more updates, and I'll see you all soon. Until next time.